To another Arias wave update. So this Ripple update, XRP is on a tear for the last 24 hours, and I thought it would be timely now to talk about this new high that we've made as per this idea, which is the latest idea that I've put out, assuming that we're in a D wave. And the reason why the wave C is basically doing what it's doing is because, as I explained in my previous video, because of the SEC lawsuit, wave C went down lower than what could normally be expected from a wave C in this kind of what I believe was going to be an expanded zigzag, right? So it did have all the strength behind it initially to be expanded, right? The C wave should have only come down lower like this, and then a D wave would have gone up like this, something like almost like what you see in XLM, right? And then the C wave would have basically broken that high. Oops. Yeah, it would have broken that high if that didn't happen. So, assuming that this count is correct, then this should basically terminate very shortly. Now, I'm a holder of XRP. It's basically my favorite coin. So that's why I tend to report more back on this one, but I'm not saying that other coins aren't great. They are. There's a lot of good coins, and they all move. Typically, they all move with the general market, being Bitcoin and that. But I'm not going to get into that now. We know that Ripple has had its issues, but this particular pattern to a lot of people may have appeared like a consolidation area, maybe even like an inverted head and shoulders pattern to some extent, right? So those that trade these kind of setups, I mean, there's a raft of different players in the game that are going to be trading, and even if it means pumping and dumping, right? So to me personally, patterns like head and shoulders and stuff like that, they are good, but I don't use them as the primary method of analysis. So, in my opinion, this down here was some kind of leading diagonal pattern for wave A. Now, if we're going to look at this as something else, like a different count, like maybe the correction ended down here, and this is like a 1 and a 2 down here, then yeah, sure, XRP could potentially keep going higher and higher and just keep moving in wave 3, which I am seeing that happening in Tron. Out of all the markets that I've posted on so far, I can definitely see it there, but at the same time, it doesn't mean that things can't correct once they start going parabolic, right? They can still correct and hang around a certain area for a while. In this case, I think it's probably a good idea to have a look at other things as well, such as potentially like RSI. Okay, now if this count is correct, and I've got a 1, 2 here for the C wave, right? Which means that this is the C wave and this is the last wave of the C wave. Okay, I'm just going to go over this again, but I've just labeled the chart this time with what I believe is the pattern that we're seeing here. Now, this is wave 4. Now, the reason why I believe that's a wave 4 is because wave 2 was short and sharp. Wave 1 was the smallest. So this is like a Elliott type rule. When wave 1 is the shortest, waves 3 and 5 tend to be similar in length. Okay, it doesn't mean they're exact, but it just means that it'll be much larger than wave 1. Okay, now maybe that has something to do with how wave 4 tends to also expand more sideways when wave 2 is short and sharp. So we've got a couple of things going on here. We've got a short wave 1, we've got a short and sharp wave 2, which means we're going to have a longer wave 5 and a drawn out wave 4. Okay, now just from experience, okay, first of all, I want to say that wave 3 is the strongest move so far in strength. You can see it right there. Down the bottom, I've marked it out on the RSI with the green line. You can see that it's the strongest wave. Now, wave 5 is already starting to lose a bit of strength there. If you go to the lower time frame, I'll quickly show you. Right, we're already looking like it's a wave 5 in that smaller wave. So if wave 4 ended here, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is in progress, and then you can see that the strength has gone down on the RSI for that final wave, which I believe that typically when people start to see this kind of price action, they'll pile in out of FOMO, right? This is just what I believe happens at these certain points in time. Okay. Now, another thing I want to also touch on, I'll just go back to the 8-hour chart just for this example. Now, this definitely looks like a 1, 2, 3 because that's 5 waves right there inside of that wave. To me, I can see the strongest part of wave 3 in here. So if I pull up the RSI, I can see the strongest part of that move was right in the middle there, and that was definitely the strongest part. And then we had some correction in between, and then wave 5, which is fine because it's wave 3. It's the strongest wave, so it's going to produce the strength. So 2 things. One, an impulsive move generally does not look like this. Okay, it does not start off like this. Okay, an impulsive move from the get-go, from the end of the correction, if this was wave 2, then we would have seen this thing go straight up non-stop from this point. This is a weak wave. Okay, it's a weakness. That's why I believe that it is the C wave of the D wave, right? This is one of the reasons I believe so. If you have a look at what real impulsive moves look like, right? Even if you go back in time, back to just say, for example, in 2017, right? You can see that there's not much correction that goes on. It looks completely different, right? This thing goes down a bit and then it just goes up non-stop, right? Yeah, you get this kind of sideways price action in wave 4, okay, typically, right? And you can see down here, wave 2 is also short and sharp, which is why wave 4 was drawn out, okay? So I'm not feeling the FOMO at all. I'm just thinking, okay, this looks great because there's certain things going on, and just because like wave 1 was the shortest, it doesn't mean that wave 5 ended up being the exact same length as wave 3, but it was it's definitely bigger than wave 1, right? But you can see this sideways price action it's a wave 4, right? So what we're looking at down here is a smaller version of a 5-wave move, and you can see that the wave 4 was drawn out sideways. So also the RSI is showing that wave 5 is weaker than wave 3. So once again, this just basically adds credence to this view, right? Because believe me, if I wanted to if it was possible for me to create a complete correction out of this wave, I would have done it, and I just would have piled in one go. I did definitely start accumulating around this area here, and I'm very happy for that. But I don't want to FOMO buy into something. just because it looks like it's going up. I just don't want to do that, right? Because I could start doing that across all charts if that's how I thought. If that's my thought process. I do like getting things cheap, and that's great. But I mean, there's also a whole bunch of other coins that you could definitely get into as well at good prices. So at the end of the day, I just really like XRP because of what it represents and what its use case is, and just typically just everything. I just like everything about it. Right? I like the people who founded it. I like how fast it is, how cheap it is to run. It's just to me, it's just like the ultimate coin. Now that's just my opinion, and I do like other coins. There's so many other coins that are great, and I'm going to be covering a lot more. I've only just started uh, not only creating ideas but creating blog posts, and I'm just going to go crazy on this stuff. This is what it's going to be all about for me moving forward from now on, because nobody wants to hear about the Dow Jones and the euro. Like, it's just boring, right? Although I still will post on that because I have and I will. Cryptos are the thing to be in, so it's just a place to be. But at the same time, I want to track these waves because that's what I do. And I just want to be logical about my approach, because down the track, when we do make some big moves up ahead, you know, I want to also know when those corrections are coming and what they mean and what to expect and how we could see the whole thing pan out. And no doubt, when we do see real wave 3 price action begin, you can expect some absolutely insane moves to go just totally parabolic, wave 3 style, right? When you're talking about wave 3 style, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, this thing doesn't waste time, and wave 3s are sharper than wave 1s. So you could just imagine that it's going to be even sharper than this wave 1. So why would I think that wave 3 starts off looking like this? I just don't think so, right? And I think that this pattern still needs to play out the way it needs to play out in order for things to get really serious. And at the moment, I would imagine that there's a lot of people just, I don't know, they've got an opportunity to get in, and especially if they're seeing prices go up, they're going to want to they're going to probably get the FOMO, and they're going to say, yeah, let's get into this, and then something's going to happen, and price will just come back down again, and they'll sell, and then that's when I believe, because wave E's do that. Wave E's are the last wave in a move, and they will happen, and out of nowhere, this thing just goes crazy, giving no one a chance to get in. No one. So if you think that right now you're smart because you think this is going up, because you are one of those people who can just get in at the right time and just look, if you're a holder, fine. If you're a holder and you know charts and you know what you're talking about, fine. You have your own ideas. But for me, myself, I believe that when wave threes really do start to happen, you basically don't have a chance, because it's just so fast and it's so hard. Because don't forget, RSI, it gets overbought pretty quickly. So I reckon when wave threes occur, RSI, the price action will move so fast so as to not be overbought so quickly. So that's how I believe markets work. Like if you go back to here, right, you can see this thing here, right? Look at how fast that moved, and RSI, once it got to the top of the RSI, sure, it still had a little bit more to go, but that was wave 5 of the wave 3. Wave 5 of the wave 5 of the wave 3. It kept going a little bit higher, but RSI still made this same sort of move, but it just made a lot more progress in that time. Okay, before it became overboard, right? So in this case, for a move to have gone this far on the RSI already and have only made that kind of move, I don't think this is a wave 3. Okay, I reckon that when you do start to get wave 3 happen, like say like that, RSI will only have been potentially like halfway, you know, and then it'll just keep going and going and going, and this thing will keep going and going and going, and then by the time that's around there, this God knows where that'll be. You know what I mean? So, yeah, and plus I'm seeing that divergence, and I'm really thorough with the wave analysis. This last interpretation, to me, I'm sticking with it because I think it's the most realistic. So whatever, I don't know, I could be wrong, but I'm trying my best to keep sane in these crazy times, which of course they're going to happen, right? Of course they're going to happen. Of course there's going to be people who are just suddenly hearing about this thing happening, and it's like, well, let's just jump into it because it's about to go to the moon. And usually people are wrong. So why would this thing give so many people a chance right now to get in? Because look at it's still buyable technically, right? It's still only around a dollar. It's easy to buy that, but why would you be buying it though? Is it because you think it's going up out of FOMO, or because you have a good solid knowledge of the waves and you have technical know-how, or because you got to ask yourself why you're doing things. Okay. Now, I'm not saying that XRP is not going to go to the moon. I think it's going to go way past the moon, right? Way past the moon. But I just want to keep my feet planted firmly on the ground. This does not look like the beginning of a wave 3, because it certainly wouldn't have taken since 22nd of Jan until now just to make what, 300%? Are you kidding me? In 2017, XRP made basically like 100,000%. So I don't know. I'm just using logic there. So yeah, anyway, so hopefully you found this video interesting and informative. Thank you for watching.